the process where you go through the emotion towards your heart, where do you see the greatest challenges?
The greatest challenges is that it's not easy. It's deeply uncomfortable. It has its own rhythm of unfolding. It doesn't go according to any schedule. And for example, if I'm going to enter my anger, I'm going to feel angry. And there's nothing pleasant about feeling angry. It's a horrible feeling, right? But I have to go through that feeling. So the work of processing is of processing those unconscious energetic states is a deeply uncomfortable experience. And when we're in it, we're in it. And when I'm in my anger, it's an angry world. And when I'm in my anger, it feels like the world's always going to be angry, full of anger, and there's no hope, and there's no end to it, right? It colors my whole world until I integrate whatever that is, and then it shifts, and I gain a greater sense of lightness and insight from that. But while I'm actually going through the processing work, it feels deeply uncomfortable. It feels like there's no end to it, right? It feels hopeless, because that's the resonances of those emotional conditions. When I'm in my grief too, when I'm in my grief, the entire world is a state of grief. It's coloring my whole perception. So the challenge of it is we've been indoctrinated into feeling good. That feeling good, we try and feel good about everything, try and be happy, you're supposed to be at peace, all of this stuff, and that completely... So in a way, when we enter the emotional states to process them, we actually feel that something's wrong. There's something going wrong. It's a very difficult place to go. And we've also been told by a religious indoctrination that these feelings are sinful, that we should be guilty, that we feel. So we have all this indoctrination which keeps us away from our emotional nutrition. So really, going into emotional processing is swimming against the currents of what we've been led to believe is what we're supposed to be. And that is the biggest difficulty about it, right? So someone who starts doing emotional processing, it doesn't matter what I write in the beginning of the presence process and let people know what they're going to go through, then they'll get to session 3, 4, 5, 6, and they'll write me an email and go, but everything's terrible, and I'm feeling terrible, and I feel horrible, and I'm angry, and yeah. Well, what did you expect? You're feeling what's really going on there. Good job. You're obviously doing the work, right? But actually they're writing to say, isn't there a way I can stop this? Am I doing something wrong? Is there a way I can end this quickly? Is there a way around this? Maybe there's another technique. Maybe I just didn't get something right because it's really unpleasant. Well, yes, it's unpleasant. We're looking at generations of trash, right? There's generations of fear, anger, and grief. When I go into my emotional signature, it's not personal. It's not mine. It's ours. It's related to everyone in my family, and it spreads out from there. And when we go and really feel our grief, when we process our grief, there will be a time when we feel the grief of the world, and it feels like we're drowning in that, right? I'm lying on the floor, my entire being shuddering. I am in such a state, I am drowning in the grief. It's not even my grief. There isn't even a concept around it. It's just grief, and it's endless. But it's really important to sink in and allow that to move through so that I can feel the world deeply without falling off balance. If I see someone suffering and it makes me all sad and freaked out, what a use am I to that person? I still want to feel the suffering, but I don't want to fall off balance. When I feel my grief, it actually awakens my feeling capacity, and I actually feel way more sometimes than I would like to feel. But it doesn't knock me off balance, because it's not going to send me into an unconscious place, because I've been working consciously with my grief instead of leaving it buried somewhere in the unconscious. And the hardest thing about it, it's like I say, the hardest thing about being upset is that when we're upset, we feel upset. There's no way around that. There's no way around that. The hardest thing about anger is when we feel the anger, we're angry. And we don't want to, no one wants to feel uncomfortable. It's like not right? And only an insane person would go, okay, I want to feel my anger and I want to feel my sad. No, it's not about what we want. It's what's required. It's not about what we want. It's about what's required to grow.